Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today I thought I'd show you guys my QB78 valve tool. Now, just so you know, this valve tool will also work on the Crosman Airguns. There's a few Crosman Airguns. I believe it's the 160 or 167, which the QB is made after, and a few other Crosman Airguns that actually have the same sort of a valve. And this is your valve front, and it's got like a big screwdriver face on it. And the only way to get it out of there properly is to have a wide enough blade so you don't damage it. So now these are kind of like a bulk fill type air gun. Even though they use CO2 bottles, you can convert them to bulk fill by just changing the front cap over. Now the QB78 uses two bottles, one facing in forward, which will come up against the valve face, and the other one faces the opposite way, and the cap pierces that one. But anyway, so you need a tool. Now, there's a couple of different ways to make these tools. This is one of them. The other way is to just get yourself a piece of flat bar, the same width as this, and just sand off the edges to take the sharp edges out so you don't scratch the inside of your tube. You know, so I'm sure anybody's got a piece of sandpaper kicking around, you know, just to round off the edges nicely. Now, I decided I was going to weld mine together. I wanted something actually better than my first version of this tool that I built, which I ended up giving to a buddy of mine. And the first version is just straight flat bar only, about the same length, about 22.5 inches long. And what I did with the first version was I had taken the grinder and cut like a tang shape, so I could put like a file handle on there, and you just go down and just untwist it, just like a screwdriver. Basically, it's a big screwdriver, right? So, but anyway, I had given that one to my buddy a few years back. I hadn't needed one ever since, but I did get a QB again, so of course now I need one, and my QB sprung a leak on me last weekend, so I had to fix it. So I thought, why not? I gotta fix the thing, build the tool, and then show you guys how I built this one. Now, if you do have a welding machine at home, you can build this, or if your buddy has a welding machine, borrow his. It takes a couple of seconds. I'm sure he's not going to mind, you know, helping you out. But what I did with this one is I took some 1/2-inch metal tubing, and this was just scrap metal laying around in my shop, and I cut it down, and the length of the main tube itself is grab this here, sorry. It is 19 and just a little over 1/4 inch. The overall length of this is 22.5 inches, if I remember right. 22 3/4 inches. So 22 3/4 inch for the overall length. And this is going to work just absolutely beautiful. You're going to need a hand drill or a drill press to drill a hole in the back, and then another piece of solid round bar. Around 1/4 inch or just under 1/4 inch is actually more than sufficient, you know, and just so you can make yourself a T-handle. So, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your cap off, and you're going to drop this down the throat of the tube and onto the face of this. And this is your valve front from the QB, and Crosman would be the same thing. And then you just unscrew it, counterclockwise to unscrew, clockwise to screw it back in. Once you unscrew it, you just flip the gun and dump it all out in your hand. The stem will come out with it too, usually, without any difficulty. And the same for reverse. You want to put it back together, drop your stem down the hole first so that the pin is down, right, and the hat of the stem is up, and you probably might have to shake your gun a couple times to get your stem to drop back in, and then put your guts all back into here, and then lay the gun down and just gently push it into the gun. Okay, now I'll show you my QB78. I don't know how much of it's going to show on the camera, but you've probably seen this if you've been on Northern Inventors channel. It's actually the gentleman I got this one from. I did the stock a long time ago for him, and he built this one from spare parts that he had kicking around. So the idea here is, like I said, it'll go down the shaft and it goes to approximately about here, and you just have the clearance in front of the barrel, so you're not taking the whole gun apart just to get at the valve, which is bonus, right? Then you just unscrew it and screw it back in. Away you go. Now when you go to lay down the valve, you gently lay it down and gently push in, because you don't want the parts to fall out while you're transporting them back down to the tube. So even a good idea might be to lift up the back end of the gun and balance it somehow, so that you've got a bit of a down, you know, so you're higher up here, lower down here, and then you can gently push this all the way in to the end, and then just gently screw it all back together, and you're good. Now as far as how tight you turn this, you go until it stops threading in, and then just give it a bit of a twist snug, and you shouldn't need much more than that. So but I'd give it just a, a bit of a twist snug, and then just a little teeny bit more of a snug up, and that's it. I guess while I got my QB out here, I can show you my little mod I did yesterday. I made a bit of a brass spacer because I was finding too much of the thread was popping out from the cap here, and kind of looked, So I made a little brass spacer down in here and gave it a double shape on it. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So the back end of this is wider, the front end is narrower. It's actually the same diameters as here, and just a little mod. I wasn't having a problem with the action being loose in the stock at all. I just wanted to, kind of bury these threads here and, get them out of the way type of thing. So, and I think it looks a little neater. But anyway, so that's the QB78 tool, which, like I said, will work on all the Crosman guns that have the same type of valve. It's also going to work on the QB79 and a few others of the QB family, because they all use the same valve. Anyhow, so that's my my tool. That's basically two ways to build this thing, like this, or you can just take the whole metal flat bar, sand down the edges, and then grind a tang in the back and put a file handle on. That's a cheap, fast way to do it, especially if you're limited on tools or you don't even have a welder period. Then I would do just a straight flat bar, and it'll work. The straight flat bar does work. I found it a little bit twisty, but it didn't hurt the flat bar any. This I find, because it's so short, it's a lot more rigid, and I just wanted to have something a little different this time, So, but from all scrap metal pieces laying around the shop, that didn't turn out too bad, I don't think. So, anyways, we'll see you on the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.